Why do you need a gun that shoots armor-piercing bullets in a New York City Manhattan apartment?
Do you need a magazine that has 100 bullets in it?
You know, why couldn't you defend yourself with something that's 10 rounds or less?
Why do you need a gun when you're going to the Whole Foods?
What is it about your life that makes you feel you need to carry a gun? Were you beaten up as a child? Do you need that gun to feel like a man?
You know,
Do you know why you're here?
No, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna like the reason why. Hello?
It says here that you bought an assault rifle with a 30-round clip.
AR-15.
Why do you need an assault weapon?
It's called an AR-15, not an assault rifle.
Does not the AR in AR-15 stand for assault rifle?
No, actually, it stands for Armalite.
What does a person need 5 assault AR-15 rifles?
There's no reason to have a magazine that holds 30 shells.
Just because you say assault AR-15 rifle and 30-round magazine clips, it's still wrong.
Assault-style rifles have to be banned.
And to answer your question, just because.
Just because is not an answer to my question.
I don't need it. I don't have to need it. I have the constitutional right to own it.
But you only have 2 hands. Why 5 rifles?
I only have 2 feet, but I have multiple pairs of shoes.
Shoes don't kill people.
What do you need 30 rounds for unless you want to kill a multiple number of people?
You bought an assault rifle, so tell me, who are you planning on killing?
I don't know. Maybe the person that's trying to kill me or my family.
Do you need a gun like this to be able to protect yourself?
You know, that's my mom if she's planning on killing one. She has an 8-piece knife set. Hello?
That's not illegal. It's not illegal.
I don't need a reason to own an AR-15 any more than I need a reason to own multiple cars. Oh, you're not talking anymore, huh? Yet, cars kill 32,000 people a year. But guess which one of these items are not constitutionally protected? Yeah, the car. Guess which one is? My AR-15. So with that being said, I'm done with this. It's time for me to go. Idiots.
Being a gun owner in 2015 is like being taken to the stand for a crime you didn't commit every single day. You're forced to justify your possessions, your behavior, your training, everything. For far too long, we've allowed people who are ignorant about firearms to control the narrative about them. Rhetoric based in ignorance, not experience, filtered down from the cultural influencers in the mass media, Hollywood, and politics, and infiltrated the minds of regular, honest, law-abiding, non-gun-owning people. So even though our coworkers, neighbors, friends, and families think they're honestly pursuing a solution to gun violence by putting gun owners like you and me on trial, what they're really doing is giving us even more reason to want to hide our identity. But there's a catch-22. Because the reason this interrogation atmosphere owns the gun debate in the first place is because we weren't vocal enough to begin with. I made a decision years ago to fight back, to be open and vocal about my lifestyle. I'm free to own guns, and not only do I think that freedom is critical to my safety, I also happen to enjoy the hell out of them. My friend Jamisa is a classic example of an anti-gun interrogator. She means well, really. She wants the same thing I want, far less gun violence. But since her firearm knowledge is incredibly limited, she patterns her points after what she hears on TV, just like millions of other well-meaning but horribly off-base people.
What are you trying to protect yourself from? Why can't you just have a handgun? Why do you need to own the big machine, like all those rifles? Is that the most effective gun? How often are you getting attacked by people with rifles? If you limit the access to those type of weapons, then you don't need to protect yourself from that type of weapon. When you get into this arms race, it's where's the end? Where's the line going to be drawn? I don't think that our society is any safer by you having all these guns. Why are you stockpiling guns? How are you going to shoot all 5 of these guns at one time?
Sorry, Jamish. I just had to get that out of my system. Let me give you a little more credit.
I guess what gives me the most pause is the fact that, like, people really feel the need to walk around with massive guns, like AR-15s. Basically, to me, no one, unless you're a military or a police officer, needs to have that type of rifle. The widespread ownership of weapons is giving rise to criminals having access to weapons of that type of power.
But you're okay with handguns?
Which warrants, yeah.
Okay, but hold on. You do realize that there's an overwhelming percentage of deaths that happen as a result of guns are with handguns.
Okay.
So then why do you not have a problem with handguns, but then somehow have a problem with AR-15s and rifles.
What are you trying to protect yourself from? Osama bin Laden is not coming into your house with AK-47s. Like, you don't need to have that much machinery to protect yourself in your home. For every gun that you put into the hands of a responsible, law-abiding citizen, you have to consider the fact that that gun might end up in the hands of someone less responsible.
Let me tell you something. We should be required to demonstrate some type of need to own a firearm based on what exactly?
Based on the fact that it is a dangerous weapon. Just like everyone can have a car. Driving them is problematic. Not everyone is able to do it.
So do you have a problem with somebody owning multiple cars?
It's so hard for people who don't own guns, haven't used them, and aren't comfortable with how they work, to be comfortable with the idea that whether I, a good law-abiding person like them, own no guns, 1 gun, or 5,000 guns, I am no more likely to commit a crime than they are. 7 years ago, when I went and bought my first gun, I didn't change. I didn't become more violent or more prone to violence, and I definitely didn't become more accepting of criminal gun violence. The truth is, I hate it even more now, because I see how the anti-gunners use tragedy to manipulate the masses into thinking that I'm the problem.
I do believe some of it is just born out of ignorance. People wanting to kind of do the right thing, wanting to react to whatever has happened to force this conversation for them to do something.
Yeah.
But I do believe that within those institutions, there are some people who have their own agenda. And
absolutely. That's politics.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like they utilize their influence to influence people who don't know that much. You know, I've met countless people who I've talked to who are, they shriek at the thought of gun ownership. But not because they just hate guns. They just don't understand it. They haven't lived with it. I was that guy.
Ignorance.
Yeah, exactly.
The government's proven many times that them, putting policies of controlling people's behavior never works. And I think the reason why we have a successful country here is because, initially the opposite of that happened, right? Where instead of restricting people, we actually established freedom and limited the restriction.
I don't have to give you a reason why I have multiple guns.
In this case, you do.
I don't have, no, I don't.
Because the Constitution doesn't say you own that gun.
No,
the Constitution
it said the right,
does not say.
No, it's funny.
It has the right to protect
no, you know what it
itself.
didn't do? Is it didn't specify.
It didn't specify. So at
it
this
said
point,
the right to bear
so then
arms.
At this point,
so at this
we have
point,
the right
you need to understand that me as a citizen of this country and you as a citizen of this country,
yes.
I don't need to tell you why I need the guns.
Yes,
like the same way you don't need to tell me why you have multiple shoes. That's the way this country works. It takes a particular person, for all intents and purposes, to live out of a van and to drive around like a nomad, and then to pick people up on the road. Honestly, things that I don't think I could honestly do. But what drives you?
Well, man, honestly, number one is freedom. Freedom. Now, what that means for me is being able to choose in the moment whatever I want. I used to be against guns. Now I'm not against guns.
What exactly brought you to that point?
I realized that if I'm gonna tell someone that they shouldn't own a gun, that means that I would be willing for someone else to tell me what I should or shouldn't do, right? And that doesn't work for me.
What ends up happening is you get people who start thinking, in order to maintain my freedom, I need to restrict yours. There are a myriad of reasons why people own guns. There's protection, there's hunting, there's recreation, there's collections, right? At the end of the day, you as an individual have the freedom to say everything you want to me. What you don't have is the ability to dictate what I get to do with my freedom. In the next segment, I shoot a fully automatic M249 saw. In the interest of education, I want to clear up a few misperceptions about full auto firearms. First off, although state laws vary, they are legal under federal law. Any law-abiding citizen is free to fill out the paperwork, undergo an extensive background check, pay the one-time $200 tax, and empty their bank account trying to afford one. Full auto guns made after May 19, 1986 are only available to dealers, manufacturers, military, and police. What that means for you and me is they're not making any new ones for us. So the guns that are out there now are often easily worth tens of thousands of dollars. In other words, anyone who thinks fully auto guns have anything to do with street-level crime has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. I haven't made the plunge into ownership yet, but in Texas, I can shoot all the machine guns I want as long as I'm in the presence of their owner, which is exactly the case in this next segment. Enjoy. I think the worst day of my life is for me to come out here, shoot a gun like this M249 Saw, and feel nothing. For the life of me, I can't understand why people are constantly always wanting to put guns like this into the need box. Like if this somehow doesn't save the world or cure people from cancer, I somehow shouldn't own it. But let's take a step back and put things into perspective for just a bit. I'm out here, it's 1 billion degrees, my sunscreen is barely keeping me from getting cancer, and I'm pretty sure I'm dehydrated. Yet I'm happy as sin because I get to shoot an M249 Saw. For me and a ton of other gun enthusiasts, guns like the M249 Saw are no different than riding a roller coaster, watching a movie, or taking a Sunday drive. All of these things are done purely for our enjoyment. In 1984, the US Army adopted the Saw to give more firepower to their smaller units. Tactically, the Saw is used to keep the enemy's heads down while other soldiers run to cover, or get into a better position to make sure the enemies keep their heads down forever. It was designed to be lighter and more portable than the M60, the US Army's primary machine gun, but provide more firepower than the Army's individual machine gun, the M16. The Saw shoots about 700 to 1,000 rounds a minute. Now let's think about that for a second. 1,000 rounds a minute. I can't pass gas that fast. That's literally like I'm taking pieces of the Great Wall of China and sending it down range. And look at it. It's no bigger than a vacuum cleaner. There's no doubt the M249 has the, oh, look, it's a gun that shoots really, really fast coolness, and the Rambo 7.62 piece and chain M60 wielding looks to go with it. But I've always wondered, if I was in the Army, would I want an M4 M16 or M249 Saw? As a civilian, I want the Saw for incredibly impractical reasons that have more to do with putting a smile on my face than saving my life. And in America, I have that right. That is, of course, after the proper paperwork, paying the unbelievably arbitrary tax, and forking over 40 grand. The M249 is seen as a light machine gun that lays down a lot of firepower, is fairly portable and accurate. So I decided to put the M249 Saw to the test to find out if it's a gun I'd want to live with in a battle. Okay, in reality, all I really want to do is run around in my typical Tom Cruise, always running around, shoot 'em up, bang, bang style. With that being said, let's take a look at the course. I'm gonna start from about 80 yards from the prone, take a 6 to 9 round burst at these 3 still targets. From there, I'm gonna sprint about 40 yards and then take another 6 to 9 round burst at these shaving cream cans over here. From there, I sprint about 20 yards horizontally and finish off by shooting these bowling ball pins. After that, I'll let you guys know what I think about actually having to run and gun with this thing in the real world. You ready to take my time?
Just link up and go hot.
Let's do it.
All right, we got a case of shaving cream downrange. Shooter, understand the course of fire?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Shooter ready.
Ready.
Go. Nice. All hits. Let's go. Nice. Let's go. Down the prone. Gorgeous. 36 seconds on that one. So now that you fired this thing, would you take this or an AR into battle?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Once you get going and you get up, like when you're out here, you're kind of plinking around. You have all the time in the world to worry about how heavy it is, how it feels. I'm getting tired. Once you were like, go, and I had to run, do what I need to do, and kind of adrenaline started pumping, I didn't even notice it.
Once the adrenaline kicks in and you realize that you are the guy to save your buddy's life overseas and someone's shooting at you, this is the weapon system you want.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sure, as I'm walking around and nothing's going on, will I get tired of it? Will it get heavy? Will it get annoying? Yes. But as soon as that on switch gets cut on, I don't care.
And overseas, that on switch is incoming fire.
Exactly. Yeah. So if that's what I have to deal with in order to get to what I just felt going out running that course, every day.
Awesome.
I'll take this all any day.
All day, every day.
Yes, sir.